Your alternative talk radio contact. The Planet. KGRAradio.com.
With infinite complaisance, people went to and fro of the earth about their little affairs, serene in the assurance of their dominion over this small, spinning fragment of solar driftwood, which by chance or design, man has inherited out of the dark mystery of time and space.
There's a lot of stuff that needs to be talked about, though, and I'm so glad that we get to work together now and do some material. This is what people need to be doing, and they will be pretty soon. You know, when they all start to see these disclosure topics coming out, they're going to be rushing to people like you and me, trying to just be like, hey, teach me what I need to know about aliens and Sasquatch and all this stuff.
We won't look so crazy then, will we?
Oh, no, it's gonna flip in a big way.
In case you couldn't tell from that little snippet before this proper intro for my guest, this is Neil Horlacher back on with me, and he was on episode 218, and of course that was about the disappearance of Kenny Veach and the extremely mysterious M Cave, and we're not going to rehash that. You guys can go back to 218, but the quick snapshot of that is avid hiker here in Las Vegas goes out to the Sheep Mountain Range, finds a mysterious M cave. It makes him feel extremely strange, so much so that he started commenting when he got back home about said cave, goes back out, and he's been missing since 2014. So my guest Sean has been out to the area and has found, and you can actually check out his videos and compare those with Kenny's, has found the location of the M cave, and it does look like it has been covered up. And as covered, like I said, on 218, he left the area and was extremely ill all the way back out to his car, and then after he got home as well. But of course, the biggest news here is, Sean, and why you're back on, is that trip out to the M cave and you getting sick was not at all the end of your story when it comes to looking into this mystery. And welcome back, by the way.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on again. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, excited to talk more about it, drop some more details and information that I can, and have some fun.
Yeah, because you have a whole lot of stuff coming up, which is good stuff as far as getting to where you want to be, as far as going back out, and you keep looking for this stuff because it does take time, it does take money. Anybody that's been a researcher at all in any of the 14 subjects that I cover, you guys know that. So, and we'll get to that. But Sean, I don't know really where you want to start. I know we haven't really compared notes as far as what you want to cover on this edition, and that's totally fine with me because I know that you know where you want to go with it. But what else has gone on since you did in fact find the location of the M cave?
Yeah, I have a video coming out in about 3 to 4 days. And like I said in the description of my most recent video, the recap video, I say I'm going to talk about some of the challenges and things I've faced, the Ranger report, all of that stuff people have been waiting for. Don't get your hopes up with the Ranger report. You guys know how, these government sites and the Rangers operate. They're not the friendliest when people are investigating, as, David Politis and a few other people found out. As far as the personal challenges, yeah, I'm dropping some really interesting stuff on this next video because I started getting threats, for one, in 2000, right about a year ago, maybe 13 months ago, when I announced my comeback to search for Kenny after I hadn't searched for 2 years. I did those 2 videos in 2016.
Well, that's odd timing. So you didn't have any threats until you came back. You had a big break, and then you came back. You're like, I'm going to keep looking into this. So what kind of threats were you getting?
So I was getting a lot of it in the comments, and I left most of it there. I removed a lot that came in the first, few days after posting it, where like they're giving me the same type of stupid comments that Kenny got, like, don't go out there, you're going to die, or if you find that cave, you'll never come out, type stuff. And I don't engage with that. That's not in my world. You're a troller. You have no content. You're not, if you actually had some subscribers and you had a channel, I'll check you out, see what you're, and I'll engage because you're playing the game. But I just started removing it. And then I got an email that kind of crossed a boundary. I mean, I get a lot of emails anyways that are weird, but this one was related to the whole Kenny thing and, me possibly getting hurt or killed.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
as far, and I'm not, and of course, if it's too far, you're like, I don't want to touch on that. But they were saying in this email, they were saying more general stuff like you're going to get hurt if you go out there, more like you could take it kind of as a friendly, like, warning, or they were threatening you, like, look, we will hurt you, or you will, face somebody that you don't want to face if you keep going out there.
It wasn't a direct from them to me threat. It was more open-ended, kind of like the comments that come in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you have the grounds to say you're going to die if you go back out there? You don't have, but so that's kind of directly, but not,
right.
But it's also indirect.
Right.
So
right.
that's basically the essence of the email. And
did it come from, some kind of an anonymous sender, hard to track, one of those kind of things?
I did. I tracked the IP and it went to some place in Moscow, like a internet cafe.
What?
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, cool. So they have their IP being rerouted and you can pay like $6 a month to have that hidden.
Oh, I didn't know that. No kidding.
Yeah,
it'll just pick a random location for your IP address. I didn't know those things.
And all the IP addresses are just cycling with whatever companies have these installations set up in different areas. I don't know how it exactly works. My buddy has it. I should probably get it just to protect my stuff, but whatever.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, we're talking, okay, so now what do we do? I hire a private investigator to go pull the cameras from the internet cafe in Moscow. So I'm like, okay, let me just take a break from this and release my enlightenment material. The M Cave Kenny story has a big part of my own personal development and enlightenment and just getting into more information that broadens your consciousness, like the Sasquatch, like the UFO type of stuff and paranormal activity, vibrating caves in the desert, so like this is it's been a nice journey for me. So I dropped that in January and I start talking about the 5,000 suppressed patents by the Department of Energy, that, geniuses like you, me, and the people we live next door to have created. We're talking free energy right out of thin air, cars that run on water, that type of stuff. They flag it and it never gets seen to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Kenny thing is all great and I'm going to ride this thing out till I hit the end wall, whatever that is. And it's going to be the truth or the discovery of remains or something. But I want to really get into this other, I might just start a new channel, this other type of material that liberates the planet, overnight when we start making these changes, cut down the import, export, monopoly, perverted sex trafficking game that's going on all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like this, I know we're getting off and we're going to stay with Kenny, but this is a hobby. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to still wrap it out and go to all these missing 411 locations like I plan to do with my future campaign that we'll talk about here in a sec. But like there's more important things to be talking about.
Right.
This is going to be fun and it leads in gateways to what I want to eventually talk about, because we're talking about exposing the truth, holding humans on this planet who are our managers accountable for the lies and corruption and all the stuff that's going on in the Black Ops community. That's not right. So it's all connected, the Kenny story and my enlightenment material. Okay, let's get back on track. So I dropped that in January. And then in the end of May or the beginning of June, I said, screw this. They're not going to keep me out of that place. And then I'm hearing word that they're going to shut down the whole area. I'm like, oh, how convenient, so.
How did you hear that?
I'm like, I heard it through a friend and I think it was Jenkins, the guy who actually went on the June hike with me. But then I can't remember exact. It might have even been in my own comments forum from a subscriber saying they were gonna, either way, I got to the links and found all the information. Yeah, they're trying to take over hundreds of thousands of acres of land and make it all military.
So for now, most of that sheep range, which is out near Nellis, and a lot of people probably don't know this, but 85% of Nevada, I think it's 85, right, is government owned, and it's like a no-fly zone. It's crazy here in Nevada.
Yeah.
Is that area, though, still BLM, like public land for now, to where that you're not supposed to be pushed out of it, right?
No way. I'm rightfully there. Everyone will be, if they're there. They would have to put some kind of fencing up to mark it off, I would imagine, just because it's connected to sort of Creech and the whole bombing range testing sites. Like they have to put a barrier there at some point if they take over the land. So that was one of the big pushes too, to get back out and do another search. So I make the comeback, me and Jenkins do it. And then after I get back from that one and I find those sealed off mines right next to this covered up weird thing I found on the solo hike. I find those sealed up mines. I get back. It's a couple weeks later. And then I notice these wounds on my shin, my right shin. And I included this information in the solo hike in the middle somewhere. And I talk about patient 17. We might even have talked about it on the last podcast, last interview. I'm going to show more pictures of it on this upcoming video. You can make your decision, but I have to go get an x-ray to see if I have something on my bone here under the skin that I can feel. So there's it's like a little piece of rock or something in my shin, right on the bone, millimeters away from the wound, the two triangle shaped wounds I had, like 4 inches apart on my shin, both on the bone.
And you noticed those shortly after getting back from finding these sealed up mines?
Yeah. And after I made the comeback.
Right. And how far is that from, what we're assuming is the M cave, which looks to be covered up? How far are those things apart?
12 feet.
Oh, God. Okay.
I literally walked right past it, the whole covered up part. So did Kenny, because
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was confused. I thought you were talking about separate mines that you found that you and Jenkins found on a separate one. Okay, yeah, I'm on board now. So
okay.
you leave the area then, and then how soon until you realize you have these wounds here, the triangle shaped wounds on you?
It's like 1 or 2 weeks after I get back from the hike. It might have been 1 week.
Because it wasn't really bothering you, or how'd you even notice it? I mean, just in the shower or something?
No, I was actually at the park sitting down in the grass, and I had like my legs up in front of me. And I was just kind of looking at my shins, and it was an open wound on my, it's probably 5 inches below my knee. And then there was one healing up 4 inches below that. And they were identical.
And one was already healing up and the other one's fresh.
Yeah. So I missed the other one, and I have pictures of them, like I said, and I'm going to post them.
Okay.
You can make your own discernment there when you see it, but you can clearly see a triangle shaped, like pinching butterfly type wound. A tool did that. I'm just almost positive. And I'm very conscious of where the skin breaks. Unfortunately, I got freaking soft skin and sensitive skin, and I'm very conscious of where it breaks. It kind of stings, I hate to admit that, but I can't even like hot water. My skin's too soft.
It's okay. You're a sissy. It's fine. I'm just kidding.
Man,
I'm just
that Hawaiian, it's a Polynesian root, it's that soft, island, whatever you want to call it. You can cut that out.
You guys have soft skin. No, it wasn't weird. That's funny. Are you kidding? We love weird on this show. I'm always saying just random shit all day. Everybody knows this. They're good with it. So you have these two wounds. You have this, rock or something harder, a pellet of some sort under your skin. Is this somewhere in between these two wounds?
It's like millimeters from it. Yeah. from the wound.
Mm. And you move it around, or what's this deal with that?
Yeah, I'm actually feeling it right now on my shin. And if you're in person with me, you could feel it too. I'll let you, and it's not a vein. You can see where the veins are. So in patient 17, that film produced by Jeremy Corbell, who I'm going to talk about here in a sec, and is also related to what's going on, who did the most recent Bob Lazar and Area 51 Flying Saucers film. That's his too. He's a huge guy in the disclosure community. He does that film, patient 17, and that guy has a tag on his shin. I think we talked about this on the last one. And they pull it out, and it's a piece of metal that has like over 30 different types of metals in it, and it's the size of a grain of sand. And they said, there's no public manufacturer that can reproduce that piece of metal on the planet. So what are we talking about? Talking about, they're saying alien gangsters, something else, but it's almost like it's a tracker, or it's feeding off your energy field, or I don't know what exactly it's for, but I got 2 of those things on my shin. So I have to go get an x-ray now. I have to go pay my copay, go to a specialty doctor or whatever, and get, go through the whole system of that. And whatever, I don't feel like my energy is being drained completely from it. It just is what it is, but I have to get it checked out. It's one of the things I need to do before I continue forward. And so to talk about Jeremy, right about this same time, I have to check the dates, but it was either right before or right after this hike, I get hit up by Sonar Entertainment, who's a pretty reputable company. And they say, hey, we found your videos on YouTube. We are doing a missing person series of about 10 different people. Kenny's the top case we have. Mm-hmm. And we're working with Jeremy Corbell on it. We'd love to have you come out here, do some filming with him. We'll follow you around, get some shots so we can shoot this trailer and Sizzler and try to sell it to whoever picks it up. Anyways, I go to Jeremy's house. We're hanging out for half the day. We got a 5-person production crew following us. We're in his freaking, Mercedes. We have the cameras all glued to the windows and stuff. It was cool to do that for the day. But so I'm doing all that. I get to meet him, get to freaking talk. He's great. And then I get home less than a week later from when I get home, the bolts on my drive shaft come loose.
I don't know that I've ever heard of that just randomly happening.
Right.
On your drive shaft, especially. That's quite dangerous.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the receipt just because I want to post as much documentation as I can for when I took it in, and I just want to check the dates too. But yeah, my car starts shaking on the highway. I get into it, I hop on the highway, and it's just freaking shaking. I can't find what's wrong with it. The sun's going down. I have to get it towed. I'm like, all the tires are good, but I can't go over 10 miles an hour. Yeah, without it literally wanting to come apart. And I know it's a 2006 Ford Explorer or Ford Exploder. Okay, I already hear you guys talking. I already hear all you shit.
The Ford, the Fix or Repair Daily, the Ford Exploder, yeah.
Like, it's already an Exploder, but I'm going to tell you right now, the drive shaft bolts don't just randomly come loose on a vehicle. So it's a week after I'm sitting in this guy's home, who's a huge name. He came out with Bob Lazar after George Knapp did it like 30 years ago. We're trying to, get that back into the public, all this information he's got. Kind of a coincidence. So let's move forward. More challenges. I'm at home. I'm watching the footage. I'm looking at the fact that we found those 2 sealed off mines, like 12 feet from our Tim Cave location. And I'm like, oh, shoot, well, maybe we're looking for something covered up. And that's the first time I start rewatching footage for that. And then I see in Kenny's last video that spot that he walks past, and he's all confused. And he's like, am I right here?
Right.
And and then I go back on my footage. I'm like, holy crap. A part of the recap video where you see me walking past it, and I put some captions on the screen. I put arrows pointing down. I was making fun of someone who had commented where they're like, hey, you walked right past it, Sean. And they were talking about the 2 M-shaped structures in the mountain. I'm like, no, man. And that's why I went and got those up close things inside the mine, all that, to show them that it's not a cave. And then I was like, oh shoot, this is sealed off. What's going on? And you know, that all led into me doing that solo hike where I go out there alone. I go back to that location. I spend like 30 minutes. I get up close shots on it, all that. And then, yes, I'm walking out of there, no more than 100 yards. I start getting sick. I throw up at least 15 times. Most of those are on camera. The first couple weren't. And I didn't even want to film it because I was feeling so crappy. I didn't even want to turn the camera on. I just almost sat there.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I have, this protects me. I have to get myself doing this. And so I finally have to sit down, and that, you know, wastes even more time. And then I get up to the top of that hill, kind of where the mine shaft is, right as the sun's going down. Yeah. And I'm walking out of there, and I'm starting to hear little crunches, but nothing crazy. And then as I get about halfway down the wash towards my vehicle, maybe 3/4 away, it really starts closing in. These steps on both sides of me, back, and at about 45 degrees, 30 to 40 feet away, back.
Mm.
And there's I can hear 2 sets. And I was kind of just like, I probably should, you know, out there. I'm like, positivity wins the day. I'm freaking,
right.
I'm all about just trying to.
It's just huge jackrabbits. They're executing tactical maneuvers on me. And just to be clear, at this point in your hike back, it is pitch black out there. Pitch black.
Oh yeah.
If you guys watch the video, and I will relink everything, it was extremely dark out there. There was no way like he could just turn around and see who was following him. It just wasn't going to happen.
No, and so I'm going to do a demonstration too on this new video of how I walked the last at least 1 mile, maybe 2, out of that canyon. I had my light in front of me on a selfie stick, and I would just be scanning it 180 degrees in front of me, and then every maybe, you know, 6 or 7 swipes, I'd go back into a full 360 on both sides, on each side of me, just with my stride.
Right.
And just to let whatever was back there know, like I'll point, I'm pointing the light at you because I know you're back here. I'm aware of you.
Did that change the pace of the 2 whatevers that were following you at all? Did that change anything?
No. Once it closed in at about 30, 40 feet, it held right there. And then when I would stop, it would stop pretty quickly. You know, I would take a step and a half to slow my body down and stop. And then I'd keep going and stop really fast just to get it off guard. And yeah, I would hear an extra like step and a half or 2 steps. So I knew it was trailing, but whatever, you know, if it's keeping its distance, that's fine. But the last at least mile, I had my gun drawn because it's in a type of holster, for one, that has a squeeze clip. I can't just get it out quickly, as quick as I'd want. I have that so it just doesn't come out while I'm hiking.
Right.
Anyways, at 30, 40 feet, I mean, if I was out there, I could be on top of you in less than 3 seconds from that distance, you know, in the dark. So I'm listening for that running up behind me the whole time I'm walking out, you know, trying to hear it over my crunch because I'm making a bunch of noise just walking on my own. And I have that gun down by my side. It's ready to go. It's chambered. And I'm just like, when I have it there, I'm also in a peaceful mind state. I know it's weird to kind of say, but I was real conscious about keeping my energy calm. And because if there's something following me, I can almost bet, and tracking me like that without me being able to see it, I can almost bet it can pick up on my adrenaline, my intention, might even be able to be some sort of telepathically, you know, gifted. I don't know. So I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm going to freaking kill you if you start running. I didn't want to have those thoughts going through my head. I pulled it out and I was like, hey, you're close.
Keeping myself safe. We're good for now, but just keep your distance. Exactly.
You run up on me, then I gotta let it sing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm out here solo. This is the last stand. You know, at this point, I still don't know if I'm making it back. I've freaking, you know, I've drained all my energy. I got 2 things following me. I'm like, whatever, man. I'm gonna blast whatever. You
Another
start running at me. We got to go down.
Another reminder
Anyway.
too, guys, this, where he is talking about, is not like going to, all of my Ohio people appreciate this, it's not like going to Cuyahoga Valley National Park and hiking the Oak Tree Hill, something, sorry guys, I obviously forgot the name of that trail. This is not an oft-visited path for anybody to follow. That's why Kenny chose it, because he loved going on these solo hikes, talking about in the middle of nowhere, right? So this is not like
no self-service.
going to Red Rock Canyon and hiking out there where a lot of people are going to be, and it was like 11 o'clock at night at this point, right? So you're walking out, these, whatever they are, or whoever they are 30, 40 feet away. You finally know you're getting close to your truck. How far do you get to your truck before finally do they stop? Do you stop hearing it? What happens?
I did stop hearing it, maybe about 50 yards from the road. So I can say
far.
Whatever it was, it didn't come out of the mountains. You know, like you have a high mountain on my right as I'm walking out, and then the Sheep Peak and everything to the left. It didn't come out. And I walked too far, because at this point everything was pitch black. I couldn't walk straight to my vehicle, and like I said, there's no trail. It's just you're walking through cactus, and
right.
I'm just trying to get out of there. I'm all discombobulated because I freaking threw up a bunch. Like, I walked further down and hit the road. I don't see my car. I still got my gun out, like, man, I just want to get to my freaking car. And I see my tracks, so I'm able to follow them back up, praying that I know my tire. And I finally find it. But even at my vehicle, I'm like, God, I got to check my vehicle to see if it's been sabotaged or there's like something waiting over here. And I do a circle around my car and make sure everything's cool. It's cool. I get in, and as soon as I locked my doors, I was like, freaking A. It's like the first time I could relax in, 7 hours, strenuous hike and, challenges.
That was
Anyway,
a really crappy way to end a very long day already. I mean, I'm sure you were very excited to find what looks to be the covered up M cave. That must have been very exciting. And then, of course, you're starting to throw up. And then you have whatever the hell that is following you out. So quite the eventful day. I'm sure you weren't quite expecting all of that, though.
I wasn't expecting all that. I mean, I can take some punishment, but this one gave me a run for my money. And the whole infrasound thing, like someone trying to attack me out there, that's possible. And I knew that was on my launch video. I said, hey, if you want to freaking take your shot, here's your shot, because I'm going solo. And then I posted that just before I got into the mountain range. So
that's interesting.
I kind of called him on it. I was still positive about it, but it's some real life stuff going on. And then look what happens. My body completely breaks down. I'm 34 years old. My body's never done what it did out there. Yes, I'm in this terrain and stuff, but I've graduated a police academy as the top student, as the most physically fit. I've won, physical competition awards. Like I can run 10 miles cold turkey. It's not, so, and then to have my body do that with the throwing up, it's like, okay, something else was thrown in, whether it was a vomiting agent they sprinkled over that area to kind of keep everything off of it, or I was getting hit from infrasound from a ridge from technology, or if I was getting hit with that same type of infrasound from a creature who have the ability to do that. Humans have the ability to do that if they know what they're doing. Yeah. So
because
quite the challenges.
Something that we were done talking last time basically and saying goodbye, but I was kind of saying, oh yeah, we'll go out there, and you actually brought something up that we had run out of time, but you kind of glanced over it real quick, and I bet that the man that asked this question, Vance, caught it, but you said, yeah, if we don some gas masks. And something that one of my listeners sent me a question about to ask you was, did you think it was, in fact, and you kind of already said it, but some kind of a gas agent to where gas masks would be advantageous to use out there?
Yeah, because when I got down, I noticed I started coughing when I was around that area, and I was up close and personal with it. There's some white powder that runs along most of the seams. So I don't know what the heck that is. And I was all down. I didn't have gloves on, and then I started coughing because I feel something get in my lungs. And then, within 10 minutes, 15 minutes of leaving that spot, probably less, probably like 5-10 minutes.
Being with your background, I've unfortunately had the experience long time ago. Somebody sprayed pepper spray out in front of a restaurant in a street, and it was a windy day, and some of the particles came into the restaurant, and all of us just instantly started to hack and cough. So did you have the feeling when you started to cough of that irritant, like in your throat, or was it more just like, like a normal cough, like a tickle?
It actually was similar to getting sprayed with OC. And I was actually an OC instructor in law enforcement for 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
I've been sprayed directly with an MK4 from like 5 feet away 3 times at least. Those are for qualifications. God. And I had to do it again in the police academy and then go through a course of fighting and all this other stuff after I had been sprayed. So it
did remind you of that then?
Yeah, it was similar to the cough. Wow. Just obviously you're not being blinded, and your face and everything isn't stinging, and yeah. But that's good you brought it up.
Yeah, I knew that Vance probably caught that on the last one, and I thought, that was exactly what his question was, and you kind of said, if we don't gas masks. I'm like, boom, he just hit on that, and I didn't even know that was one of the questions that had come in for you.
Perfect.
I mean, so you've been back out there, right? So is that something that you do now? I mean, do you go out there with anything over your face, or?
I haven't been back out since the solo hike, but I'm going to, and it's part of the campaign that we'll talk about here in a sec.
Yeah.
Where I need to get funds to set myself up to win and be safe out there. Like, I can't keep doing it on a shoestring budget because I'm potentially getting targeted. Potentially trying to attempted assassinations, on me. Who am I? Like, I'm a nobody.
You better learn. You better learn all the mechanics of your car real damn quick, so you can check it every single time you get back to it when you visit the M Cave, right?
Yeah, man. Like, there's all this stuff going on.
Hey, I don't know if you can bring this up, and maybe it didn't even come up, or maybe it did because it happened to you, and maybe you asked Jeremy about it. Has Jeremy ever brought up that his vehicles or anything have been messed with?
No, he didn't say anything, and I felt like he would have if he had problems.
Right.
It would have been relevant.
Absolutely. It would have been relevant for any of his documentaries, right? Because he touches on some very touchy subjects for any of them. So, okay, I was just wondering about that.
He's a smart dude, though. He's probably got all his surveillance and everything dialed in.
Right.
So I do the solo hike. After I get back from that 1 month later, almost to the day, and I have this time stamped on the picture that I'm going to post on my new video. It's September 1st, and I wake up in the morning and I feel a scab on the very top of my head, kind of at my calic, the very back. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of like picking at it because I'm like, well, that's weird. It's a pretty big scab. I look in the mirror and there's a nice sized chunk taken out of the top of my head. Kind of like when you would get a hair test, but they took the scalp and the skin with the hair.
You would have probably remembered knocking your noggin that hard if you had bonked it somehow, right?
Yes, and that didn't happen. I did not fall. So I'm looking at this thing, and I took pictures of it that everyone will see, and it's like almost the size of my pinky nail. Like it's a good sized chunk. And I'm like, what the heck, man? So that's kind of, I guess I got to get a X-ray or something. I do want to get some kind of scan done to see if there's any hardware.
Yeah. Is it healed up? Is it healing?
Up, but I can still feel where it was. And like I said, I'll post these videos or these pictures, and you can see for yourself. Like, it's not a normal wound that someone would just have, even hitting their head. There'd be like a bruise to it. There wasn't anything. It was just like a clip out of my freaking scalp. Anyways, weird, right? 1 month later, after now I really put some eyes out there on this spot, and I'm exposing stuff. This is definitely not a original structure to the landscape, as many commenters have said on my channel. All you fake freaking agents, get out of my, like, I've been a geologist for 40 years and that's a natural structure. Get off my channel. Here. And then I get people that chime in, I've been a geologist for 30 years and that's for sure not and they got
that's
a picture,
interesting, right?
A real name,
right?
Like some videos.
So who's the real geologist there? Yeah.
Yeah, it's trash. Anyways, so that happens, and then right around the same time, I go get back in my vehicle, my Exploder, kick it on, and like all the lights are freaking on. Every dash light it has is on, and it's running weird. I'm like, okay. I take it in, and the guy's like, your freaking computer just is like fried. It's just, we got to replace it. And I believed him because like it's running weird. All the lights are on.
Right.
Somebody zapped my vehicle or something. I don't know, but there was no explanation for that to just randomly happen. Okay. So now we're moving past this. I'm in the whole like $800, almost $1,000 with the two things.
Right.
And then we get to my fuel pump randomly going out just before I released the recap video. Usually when your fuel pump goes, it gives you a warning. Like it kind of like won't start a little bit as the pump's failing. None of that. It went cold turkey, broken, won't start back up. It's done. My vehicle was turned off, and then for maybe, I don't know, an hour or so, and then I went and got back in it, and it won't start back up. I get it diagnosed. They're like, yeah, it's a fuel pump. I'm like, and that's going to be $800 something.
Oh
like,
my gosh. Talk about gut punch after gut punch for that, huh?
Yeah, right around Christmas. And so they already diagnosed. I had to pay him for the diagnosis and the tow, but I said, no, give me my car back. I did it myself.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine, I dropped the tank. I freaking bought the part offline for $58. Did it all myself, put it all back together, and we're fine. We're back on the road. So that happened. And then the last thing here, which is the most, I'd say, disturbing part of everything, challenges. I'm talking to my brother, and this is right around the beginning of December, maybe the end of November. Yeah, right in there. And he's like, how you doing? This is my younger brother. I'm like, I'm good, man. But, this is kind of what's happening. Like, I feel like I'm getting some weird attention. I sent him the pictures of my shin and my head and stuff. And he's like, he's not really into this type of stuff. He's like, okay, what else is going on? He's trying to like change the subject. I said, this is what's going on, man. This is my reality.
Right.
And you need to start looking into what I'm doing because it's going to be on your front doorstep here soon in one form or another, whether the disclosure of extraterrestrials and all the energy stuff comes out and you need to acclimate yourself with that information, or, you just start getting attention because you're my brother,
right.
Whatever. Anyways, no response. Okay. I love my brother. Don't get it twisted. But if you're not into this, you're just not into it. No hard feelings. 2 days later, I'm laying in bed. I'm home alone. There's none of my family's there. No dogs, nobody. I'm laying on my stomach. It's around 3 a.m. I found that out after I checked the phone. And I get punched in the stomach 3 times. Like this quick. I'm going to try and hit the phone. That fast. And I roll over onto my back and are completely confused. I'm holding my stomach like, oh, I just got freaking punched. What the heck was that? And I'm looking around the room thinking that there's going to be somewhere in here beating me up. There's no one there. I get up. I check the house. I'm like, that's weird. I'm going back on my dream. I'm trying to remember what I was dreaming about because I've been woken up by getting hit by something in my dream and then like hitting my headboard at the same time. And it's, I kind of wake up and I'm
right.
like, oh crap. That's happened to me maybe 3 or 4 times in my life. But this time I wasn't dreaming about anything weird. It was just like normal dream. And I'm sitting there in my bed like, yeah, I for sure got freaking punched in the stomach 3 times. I could distinctively remember the 3 punches. So the next morning I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, dude, you got punched. And I looked at my belly button where I felt the hit. And I have a wound inside my belly button.
What?
That I'm posting pictures about that looks exactly like a needle incision. Okay? I'm no freaking doctor or anything, medical expert. I'd love for someone like that to take a look at this. And eventually I got to take it in and have somebody, a specialist, look at it. But yeah, there's a freaking needle mark in my belly button. And so I'm like, wait a minute. I just started talking about this, to my brother, these things that are happening to me. I really haven't, especially the head thing. That was new. I posted the shin stuff.
Right.
But there's like some other attention I'm getting, and the head thing, I'm like, oh, so if I talk about it, I get punished or something? I kind of took it that way. Because there was no like big hike. I didn't do anything extra in that time other than send this information to my brother. So I'm trying to put this together. I took a bunch of pictures throughout the day. I'll at least have probably 3 or 4 that I post. And yeah, so I'm like, okay, now we're playing hardball. You guys are like in my house doing some crazy, like, how is that? How are you even doing that?
That's what I was going to ask you. How in the hell, how was that even executed?
Okay, so I have somewhat of an explanation just because I've watched the entire series of Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia.com, Gaia's website, where everybody should be at right now. Yes, you have to pay a subscription of like $12 a month. It's the best $12 you'll ever pay. And you will be, that type of information helps liberate you because you start understanding how things like this can happen. So Corey Good, who's a whistleblower and said he had worked for the government for all these years. He was a part of the 20 back program or all that. He gets interviewed by David Wilcock, who's my freaking hero. He's a massive researcher and anyways, brings out all the suppressed science. He does a whole series of 200 plus episodes of wisdom teachings, which everyone also needs to watch because that explains the real science. Corey's talking about how our Black Ops military government community has a technology where they can get close to your home or whatever, turn this device on. They all put earplugs on. They basically turn a device on that emits a frequency that puts everyone into a REM sleep state, basically. So they can point it, at your home and everyone in there, and it's going to be, in the middle of the night, 2, 3 a.m. or whenever. And then they can literally enter and, the animals, everything's probably just dead asleep. So this got used on Corey when they came and interrogated him on part of his journey. And so he talks about that. And I mean, I think he already knew about that type of technology. But anyways, there's an explanation. So I know it's not impossible, even the head thing.
So you think that they were in there and you were actually giving them information that you didn't even know that any of this was going on? Possibly.
That's what has happened to people, especially Corey. They mind wipe you or they do something. And so that's, as far as this,
it's weird. Your phone is now getting really horrible reception now that we're touching on this last bit.
Oh,
I think the moment that you said, here's the most disturbing thing, it like keeps dropping in and out. I'm like, please signal, hold in there, please.
Oh man. Yeah. And now I'm on that one bar. I'm looking at my phone. Oh, there's you. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's sounding really bad now. That's crazy. It's been pretty good the whole time.
Let me walk around real quick.
I mean, yeah, it may be nothing nefarious. People are probably like, well, you guys, it's nothing crazy, but it's not the first time that I've been talking about, questionable subjects like this that might have to do with certain agencies and connections get a little wonky. So.
Well, and we had a weird chime in on our last conversation, remember?
Yeah.
That always happens on my calls. Anyways, can you hear me now? That's
a lot better. Yeah. You have a few more bars now?
I'm literally in an open parking lot.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out in my vehicle.
Yeah.
So the positive, if you can hear me and it's coming through, to all that is, hey, I'm still here. You know, like, I'm okay. My energy's nice. I was sick after the solo hike for about 3 weeks. Just off and on. There was something that was just not right with my body, maybe after getting zapped or something.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of meditation and all that stuff, and I feel like it helps because I do a lot of self-healing, and I just focus on it, and I pray on it, and that's where you put your energy is what's going to happen. Anyways, back on track. I'm trying to stay positive with it because maybe I got help, like maybe I got some kind of upgrade. I don't know, but there's people also whistleblowers talking about, what's his name? John Lear, the son of the guy who started the Learjet.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the guys in Disclosure that's talking. He's like, everyone on the planet is being picked up at some point or another, taken to the moon for maintenance, upgrades, and all that. He's just saying that. And Corey's confirming that. Maybe 8 other whistleblowers are confirming that too. So I'm trying to stay positive with that one. The punching in the stomach doesn't really add up. I'm like, why'd you have to punch me? Like that didn't.
Yeah.
In the morning, I could still feel like where my stomach had gone in. You can still feel where you got hit.
Because it seems like if they're supposed to be doing this incognito, they're really failing quite epically with you because, all the stuff with your truck, maybe that's not supposed to be, it can't be incognito because obviously it's supposed to break down. But it seems like they're being kind of careless because it's like back. It's like you got all these things going on back to back.
Yeah.
Now, what about, and then I'll let you talk about what's coming up for you. You've got this big video coming out, and of course this will air tonight, so I'll link that video and everything else that you've got coming out once it comes out. Are you worried, though, after coming on here and you've let all this stuff out that's been going on with you, and then your video will come out with the actual evidence and the proof of the physical attributes that you've been dealing with that have been added? Are you worried at all that it's going to ramp up? Or like you keep saying, this is my insurance policy?
Yeah, exactly. It protects me to have it out because the last thing I'm going to do is just keep quiet and go become a recluse somewhere because that's what they want. I'm probably even getting attacked psychically. Well, I know I was getting Voice of God and other technologies that they talk about on Disclosure where they can literally just beam in yelling voices to you. And I've experienced all that in this year. So there's so many other things we don't have time to cover that we'll get on other shows, but little subtle things like that. There's probably 10 or 12 different things we'll talk about, and I'll put them all together before our next show. I know I'm getting psychically attacked because I'll get these random thoughts that are not good. They're negative. And I'm just like, that's not me. It's coming from somewhere. And so I have to do a lot of spiritual type protection, meditation, energy work, just to kind of be at par. And I'm okay with that. I think it's important for everyone to just keep that energy and high vibe and love as high as it can around them. It only helps. But, am I a little concerned? Sure. It might ramp up, but it is what it is, man. I'm not going to look the other way. I'm not going to quit doing what I'm doing because these guys are bullies and that's their game. Okay, fine. And let's play the game, man, because I've been through too much hardship, too much BS, and have discovered too many lies to sit with myself if I were to just shut up. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. And knowing that all this injustice and all this crap, Kenny possibly, and all these hundreds and thousands of other missing person cases that David talks about in the missing 411 material, and then all these lies, all the fake science they keep putting out here, this monopoly game, like, it's done. There's millions of people dying every day. Oh, maybe thousands, millions every year, billions. Like, come on. Things got to change. So sorry I get so
No,
far
that's
off.
okay.
Coming
No,
back.
and there's so many different, and I've made notes for round 3 because we're going to do that soon. I mean, there's so many different things that I want to ask you right now, but we just don't have the time. But it'll be perfect, like you said. The next video is going to come out, and then it sounds like you've got more coming up to release beyond that as well. So we'll have more for round 3. But let's talk about what you have coming up and some things that you are saying, hey, I could really use some help here, and it's for a really great cause.
Yeah, and I'm taking care of the people who are showing up for me, and I'm upping my content. I'm committing to more videos. I'm doing live stuff now. I'm not doing it now, but I will if the campaign fruitions. So here's what I have going on, and I'm really forced to kind of do this and sort of do a crowdfunder because I'm outgunned, like I said, and it's unsafe for me to continue if I don't have the proper tools and equipment and personnel behind me. I can't, I can't be stupid about this. And I've never once asked anyone for anything on my channel. I've never asked anyone to subscribe or like any of my videos. You can go through all of it. Just people have come how they've come because I'm kind of in the funnel of the Kenny story. And in the beginning, I had my account monetized. Here's YouTube 101 for everyone that's wanting to know how you actually make money. It's by having your own shirt sales or advertisements running that you do, which is what I do right now, and no ads, or you monetize your account, and then YouTube is allowed to run ads and banners, however you set it up. When someone clicks on it and goes away from your content into the ad, you get like a penny or a half a penny or whatever the rate is.
Yeah.
So I had those 2 videos going in 2016 where I took a break for a couple of years, and I'm like, yeah, might as well monetize it. It's just sitting here, the account. I racked up over 100,000 views. It might have been 150,000 views, and I got 15 cents. You know what I'm saying?
You're rich, Sean. I mean, what are you complaining about?
But the whole thing is, when people find me, they're eager to find what I found, my discoveries, and look at my content. They're not trying to click into an REI,
right,
ad. So I was like, okay, I just keep this noise and these violent video games and whatever the heck else you're putting on my channel, just keep it off. It's like, I want my channel to be a nice space, peaceful place when you come experience, the content. I don't want it to be led in by whatever commercial wants to go. Anyway, so I made that choice and really, I didn't start this as a moneymaker. You can see when my account was created. It was in 2007, September 23rd. Like, I went a whole decade without posting a video because I just used YouTube for educational purposes.
Right.
And then the only reason I posted a video was because the Kenny story, Kenny was a YouTuber. He was a local, and there was a community looking for answers on this, and no one had really gone out and done a hike and filmed it like I did. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I shot it in portrait. Everyone yelled at me for that. And the video gets a bunch of attention. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we'll just see how this goes. And then as I get more into the story, as everyone does, you can't give it up. It's going to be there because there's there's like 4 different main theories and no answers clear on any of them.
Right.
So this is a great mystery that if you like this type of stuff, I want to see it solved. We get there. So we're creeping up to 8,000 subscribers. The stakes have risen because of all the attention I'm getting and the boundaries that I feel have been crossed, especially with messing with my freaking Ford Explorer. Like, it's already going to explode. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to help this thing into the junkyard. So like, I feel like now you're really crossing. Now you're playing dirty. So now I got to amp up my side. That's a little bit about YouTube 101, how you make money, what I was saying. So I haven't made any money. And I feel like, to pause real quick, it's kind of silly how it's set up because these other people who have millions of subscribers and are making all these billions of dollars a month, it's like they're getting rewarded for having distractive content that leads people into clicking away from their content.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If they lost their interest enough in the first 5 seconds or 10 seconds, but when that ad was playing before their video, to click into that, like it was more important than your ad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those type of people are getting rewarded. And then you have folks like me who are putting out real content, boots on the ground, discussing full disclosure type topics that liberate the humans of Earth, you know, overnight, save millions, billions of lives, and eliminate things like I've been talking about. This freaking sick game, this economic slavery system, oppressive game that's going on. And so I'm still in the hole. I do my fundraising organically. And yeah, did I make a couple bucks from the sale of 30 t-shirts? Yeah, I netted like $300. Has that covered my expenses, you know, on time and effort in the case? No, but it's okay. Like I said, I didn't start this to like get my investment back. And really, I see all my 6+ hours of content that I have for free on YouTube as sort of my resume. You know, you don't collect money from the person reading your resume at a job interview.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I felt like, okay, I got to figure something out. And I felt like a GoFundMe was the most productive win-win type of crowdfunder to get this thing going. You'll have different, I guess, pledge tier amounts and various perks that come with them, like discount codes for my merchandise, or just, I only have the one shirt, email Q&As. I had a lot of people just wanting to, you know, talk, ask me questions. I just don't have time for everyone.
Right.
But if you're freaking pledging them out and you're giving me my shot and funding me, dude, I'll talk with you all day because you're the person I want to talk to. Anyways, we're setting up phone calls, Skype, FaceTimes. I have a guy who donated me $50, and me and him Skyped for like 40 minutes, and we covered a bunch of material on the King case. It was great. Anyways, with the GoFundMe, as you pick your tier, doesn't matter if you're on a $10 tier or a $200 tier, you'll get a 3-month at least membership to my Patreon account, where I'll be committing to weekly live videos that go for at least 20 minutes. If I have an hour and the discussion's good, I'll keep it rolling. Okay, the first 10 minutes of that video will be updates, maybe equipment I've picked up, personnel I've hired, and then the last 10 minutes will be a Q&A. Literally, everyone that's in my pledge group, hit me with whatever you got. Let's talk about anything. And I'll do that weekly, usually on the same day, but at a different time to give people around the world, you know, a better optimal time to be on live with me. And then I'm committing to one major hike, documentary style, chronological investigation into, I'm first going back to the Kinney location, and then I'm going to start hitting the missing 411 locations where there's hundreds and clusters of people missing from these areas. So basically the GoFundMe is going to give me the amount of money I need to get all the equipment and set me up into basically a full-time investigator position. And if it continues and people keep pledging and want to stay subscribed and the content's going well, we'll take it further. You know, I don't want to get too far ahead, but
right.
if I can get if I can get the thing to fruition, as soon as it does and I close it off, that's when, and I have the money to get everything I need, that's when those 3 months start for the people signing up and getting their membership. If you're on a higher tier and you're up in the 200, whatever, you'll probably get a year's membership. I'll have all that information on the links when I send it to you. It's not live right now, but I'll get it to you when it is. So live weekly videos, which would be, we'll just say 4 per month. It's going to be more than that with an extra week thrown in there. And then one major hike video that's at least an hour long. This is uncensored footage. If I find and video a freaking Sasquatch or whatever out there, I have a feeling they're going to find me before I find them. But this time I'm going to have thermal cameras. I'm going to have trail cams. I'm going to have all the gadgets to get this. If I find that and I record it, I'm releasing it. I'm not sitting on it to try to sell it or anything. I want it to hit the streets. I want it to hit my patrons who are supporting me, because once again, that protects me. I need it in the streets. I need it in the public. But yeah, those are the things I expect to encounter. So by doing the lowest tier, you're getting a guaranteed, 4 times 3, 12, and then the 3 major hike videos, a guaranteed at least 15 videos, most of which are live, and your perks, of course, for signing up and whatever's there. And uncensored footage where I'm going to have 2 cameramen following me and 3 other people who are all prior military or law enforcement trained, combat trained, experienced individuals. I'm going to pay them. So part of that money is going to go to these people. It's going to go to hiring the cameraman. I'm also going to hire an editor so we can get a quality film out when we're, for the once a month. So I'm ramping it up. Going live is kind of a big deal. That's a big commitment and step, but I'm ready for it. And I feel like I have enough supporters out there with just all the emails I get, people saying, yeah, you need to start a Patreon. People have been trying to get me to do a GoFundMe for like 3 years to get back out there.
Right.
So I'm just kind of answering the call, and I'd love to do this full time. I don't want to have to go work my day job. You know what I'm saying? People like me need to be out there finding the answers for everyone else. I know there's a lot of fear and stuff that's going on, and people are just kind of scared. They don't want to put their nose in. A lot of people are probably even afraid to associate their online profile with me and subscribe or, pledge an amount. You got to stop and drop the fear, because that's the whole mind control thing. They want people to sit down, shut up, do your job, do your 20, 30 years at whatever, and retire and go away. I'm the complete opposite. That's why I can't stay at a job for more than 3, 4, 5 years. I'm like, I gotta be doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to wrap on all this, I can't keep going out and just dropping free content and risking my life for nothing. It's not worth it. I'm still going to drop the enlightenment stuff and whatever I can on YouTube, but I'd really like to see people show up, support, and also I'd love to start meeting people in person. So starting next Wednesday, and this is the first time I've mentioned it anywhere, right here, I'm doing a meetup from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Veggie Eat Express. It's one of my favorite spots to eat. Yes, it's a meatless place. Y'all need to start eating high vibe, high frequency foods. You'll see what I'm talking about once you do it and you start changing. Your energy levels boost up. And anyways, it's an opportunity to get down there. There'll be a whole pre-registration thing to it. Yeah, it'll cost like $15, $20, but when you get there, your entree and your first drink, including alcoholic beverages, is free. So it actually saves you money, because it would be more than that with tax and tip if you just try to walk in there. I have the whole patio rented out every Wednesday from 6 to 8, and it's kind of enclosed. We'll have a heater out there, but that's a place for everyone that's emailed me and wants to get involved and wants to pledge an amount and just meet me. That's your opportunity to come out. We can, start a gathering, start this discussion, talk about the Kenny case, all these other cases, talk about enlightenment. Ask me anything you want. I feel like I can answer just about any question just after going through all the research I have and going into the silence and the meditation and the spiritual stuff I do. Anyways, my whole idea is I want to meet you in face to face, in person. There's a special organic energy that comes along with that. And the online stuff is very cosmetic. It's very, synthetic, and just, I'm putting this out there up in my game to show, hey man, I'm a real person. And if you are too, you're exactly the person I want standing beside me as we walk through this disclosure and this war that's going on with our own managers about in this Black Ops community, possibly taking the life of Kenny, attempting on me, and, killing all these other people that go missing. Anyways.
No, I think
need real folks to show up.
I think that the meetup is a good idea, because then I think those will be your core group of people. Those will be your biggest supporters, is the people that actually will get off the couch and get in their car and they go to meet you and talk to you about what you're doing. So, okay, so is the GoFundMe and the Patreon going to launch at the same time? And when do you think that'll be?
So the GoFundMe is actually live right now.
Oh, okay.
If you searched it, you could find it, but I still need to go in there and fine tune it, change a couple things.
Okay.
GoFundMe actually, I suspended it at one point because I had something in there you couldn't have, and it was a little mess, like going back and forth. So it's it's live. You could go find it, but I'm going to officially release it and start it in about 3-4 days when the new video comes out. I'll have all the links there. The Patreon stuff, I do have an account. You can go there and you can pledge right now and sign up or whatever, but you won't, if you just go to the GoFundMe and put in your pledge there, I'm going to automatically set up your membership at Patreon for you and then email you all the details that says, hey, okay, as soon as we hit the goal, here's the 3 months begins, and we go into the live videos, yada, everything else you need to know.
What's the search that they need to do on GoFundMe or Patreon?
It would just be GoFundMe and then my first, middle, and last name.
Okay.
Sean, S-E-A-N, Neil, N-E-I-L, Horlacher, H-O-R-L-A-C-H-E-R.
Okay.
And it should come up, but like I said, wait for my next video, and it'll be right in the description. People can go there right now, though, and just kind of check it out. I have a lot of information in there that's very enlightening to the whole disappearance stuff on national parks and all the work David's done.
Well, your last video that dropped at pretty much the same time that your first episode with me did was so cool. If you guys haven't seen that, I mean, just to follow the path alone, he shows you the live shots of where he is, and then it has the animation. There was the word I was having a hard time finding. The animation and the location of exactly where Sean is going, and then you get to see it live because he is actually out there doing it, which is wonderful. But Sean, make sure to, the second everything comes out, I mean, of course, I can keep an eye on everything, but in case I miss it, just, shoot me a text and say, hey, everything's live, and then I can go grab all the links. That way all of my listeners know. They go back into the show notes on my website, intothefrayradio.com, and I will also post it on my social media stuff too, so we can get the word out for you.
Man, that's fantastic, and I really appreciate all your listeners. I want to talk to them real quick. I've had a few people reach out to me, and I haven't got back to them. I see you there, and I will get back to you. I'm trying to get all this, obviously, important info that we've talked about here today. I'm trying to just get that together, keep everything together on my side, and get it posted. After I do that, I'm going to hit the emails. I'm going to crank up everything. I'll be doing more social media platforms and really trying to market to get the word out. But anyways, yeah, I appreciate you doing everything, and love that we're kind of joining our followings to just give each other more awareness.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
If they come kill me, it's going to be in the next couple days before I get my video out. So I have dead man switches set up. Everyone's familiar with that. Like people who have all my backed up data and information, I have about 4 of those that I trust. And so if anything does happen to me, the footage I was going to put out will get put out. You guys just have to search me and find whoever's repping my name and has the access to my account. But yeah, so I'd appreciate. Hey, just text me. Text me tomorrow. Make sure I woke up.
I will. I will be checking on
that'd
you
be
because that's kind of freaky and a little bit dire,
It is what it is, man.
Yeah,
I'll freaking be your huckleberry, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta keep trucking. That's it's what you gotta do. So we've all been through situations where you're like, is it really worth keeping going? And you're like, no, it is. So
gosh dang right it is.
Yeah.
This is our freedom. It's our liberation as a race of humans. Like it goes beyond Kenny, and I'm happy to be the person doing exactly what I'm doing. And I kind of feel like I've been waiting my whole life for an opportunity like this. So it's nice that I got pushed into it through the Kenny story and stuff.
It's funny how things happen, right? I mean, it was kind of like it was meant to be. And of all the people that could actually find the spot of the M Cave, look who it is, right? I mean, it's
here we go.
kind of strange and wonderful that way.
Once again, grateful that you're covering my material. There's some people that don't want to be close to me right now. So I appreciate you having to get it.
I'm still waiting for any strange vehicles to be following me around. I do pay attention. So
you should. You're a part of the crew now.
I am.
I'm like, thanks, Jeremy.
I'm like, bring it on, man. I'm waiting for some tails. I have the proper car to not have a tail, so I would love to put her under her paces anytime. So we'll see. I probably won't get the chance, but we'll see.
I think I saw a picture you charge. Are you a charger?
Yeah.
Is that what you have? That's what's up.
Yeah, she's a sexy little thing, and she's a damn lot of fun. And I'm knocking on my desk, knock on wood, I haven't gotten the ticket yet. But of course, the line is, when I do, I hope to God it's a charger that pulls me over. I'll be like, officer, can I please just get a picture really quickly with both of our chargers in, please? I'm like, for the first time ever, I will get myself out of the vehicle. I've never been asked to come out of the vehicle because I've never done such a thing that would warrant that. But for the first time, I'll be like, officer, can I? I'm not no angel, but officer, can I step out of the vehicle? He'll be like, what? I didn't ask you to. What'd you do? No, I just want the picture of both chargers. Yeah, he's like, man, that's awesome. Come on.
And he'll probably let you go. I'd let you go.
Maybe. I'll be like, look, come on, Mopar family, come on, you gotta let me go. That probably wouldn't work. I got a podcast. Yeah, here's my card.
I'm freaking helping with disclosure, man. Let's go.
I'll be like, disclosure? Then he'll probably write the ticket, because he's like, you're a damn kook, and you have a nice car, but you're a damn kook, so here you go. You talk about aliens and Sasquatch. You talk about the Sasquattle. I don't know why I just used that accent, guys. I'm sorry. It's not like all cops have a southern accent. That was terrible. Sam Squanches. Them damn Sam Squanches out here stinking things up.
So if you want to put this into the show and just kind of slide it in there, I forgot to say it. The other risk I run into is getting, if I have in fact been abducted or whatever, is getting re-abducted by our own, I hate to say government, but world managers. I don't like to say the government. It's kind of broad, and I don't want to feel like I'm attacking them. But that's what Corey Good was talking about. He was saying, once they find out you got hit up, they'll come get you to see if you got hardware put on you, or what you saw, what information they can draw out from you, what you'll confess to, all types of stuff. So that's another thing I'm kind of risking right now, is getting re-abducted
by whoever
for information by like my country's managers and people seeing. Anyways, that's the last thing.
All right, well, I'll be checking on you tomorrow.
All right, well, I really appreciate it.
No problem. You betcha.
1,000 times, so
I'll text you tomorrow, but yeah, we're going to be talking soon.
All right, that sounds good, Shannon.
All right, Sean, have a good night.
Well, I'm so-and-so. I was given this name by my parents. I've been to such and such a college. I've done these things in my profession. I produce a little biography. Buddha says, forget it. That's not true. That's some story. That's all gone. That's all past. I want to see the real you are now. Well, nobody knows who that is. Because we don't know ourselves except through listening to our echoes and consulting our memories. But then there's a real you, and that again leads us back to this question. Who are you? That is the real you. We shall see how they play with this exam by the koans to get you to come out of your shell and find out who you really are. say, no, we don't believe literally in reincarnation. That after your funeral, you will suddenly become somebody different, living somewhere else. They will say reincarnation means this, that if you sitting here now are really convinced that you're the same person who walked in at the door half an hour ago, you're being reincarnated. If you are liberated, you understand that you're not. The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. There is only the present. That's the only real you that there is. The Zen master Dogen put it in this way. He said, the spring does not become the summer. First there is summer, and then there is spring. When you settle down in the train to read your newspaper and so on, you are not the same person who a little while ago left the platform. If you think you are linking your moments up in a chain. And this is what binds you to the wheel of birth and death. But when you know that every moment in which you are is the only moment, this comes into Zen. A master will say to somebody, now get up and walk across the room. And he comes back and he says, where are your footprints? They've gone. So where are you? Who are you? When we are asked who we are, we usually give a kind of recitation of a history.